Well, it's official. There is another massive lawsuit from the Department of Justice over, they're suing Live Nation, the company, which for those of you that aren't familiar with Live Nation, they are a massive, massive player in the music entertainment industry and the live entertainment industry. So chances are, if you've been to a concert, if you've been to a concert venue, or if you've listened to the radio, you've interacted with Live Nation's brand. I'm going to break down completely what's going on, and I'm also going to explain why this is an issue, why the government's paying attention to this. But I'm also going to kind of interject and also give my opinions on why I don't think that the government should be interjecting here. Again, for those of you guys that are new to my channel, I don't think that the government really should be involved in a lot of things, especially with business, especially with markets and operations and things like that. I don't think that the government should be involved. Originally, right, when you read the Declaration of Independence, is always stating that the powers of the government should be few and limited. So when we hear about antitrust lawsuits, we hear about all these random things that the government is doing. To me, it just sounds like a lot of money that's being spent in the public sector, which we cannot afford to do. So that's why it's a big issue is obviously the idea of government spending a lot of times can be really good, especially when you see them doing things like this. And this is, in many cases, I think a big PR thing for the Department of Justice. Hey, we're breaking up this big, massive monster company. You guys should love us because we're taking down these big, greedy corporations. So in some sense, it does feel a little bit like that. But also, I want to give the other side of it because it's very important too. Now, Live Nation, like I said, they own all kinds of stuff, right? So what's crazy about this type of company is that the company owns a bunch of venues around the United States and in different parts of the world as well. So if you go to a concert, Live Nation, in many cases, will make money from the ticket sales and the venue and all that kind of stuff. The venue charges are, it's crazy how the music industry works, but what's even crazier is how many pieces of the industry Live Nation owns. So they get money from so many different ways. And this, I think, was kind of one of the things that the government was arguing, right? Is, oh, we have a monopoly here because this company is essentially just dominating the entire music industry space. So what would happen is right, like the venues are all, so I'll give you an example. Have you ever heard of the House of Blues before? They have tons of locations all throughout the United States. Very popular venue for artists to perform at. So if you've ever been to a House of Blues, you've been to a Live Nation venue. Right. So the other thing that Live Nation does is that they manage artists. They have a branch of that company that does artist management. They have over 400 artists that they manage currently. People who like rock, they manage the band, the Eagles. They manage a bunch of people that everybody's heard of. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. Go check out Wikipedia. You could see a full list of it. But like I said, over 400 artists are under the management of Live Nation, which is crazy too. So then in addition to that, you have Live Nation, which famously acquired Ticketmaster, which sells the tickets online. So now you can kind of get where I'm going with this. Live Nation owns the venues, they own the artists, they own the ticketing companies, and all of that kind of stuff, right? So they're just making money left and right. So let me really tell you, if you are missing the point of what Live Nation is, let me really tell you what they are. Yes, they own, they manage artists and they do things like that. Yes, they own venues, but really they're also a massive concession stand. It's almost like a movie theater, because if you go to a venue and you're watching a concert, you're gonna buy food, you're gonna buy alcohol or drinks or whatever, right? Candy, popcorn, desserts, things like that, whatever, right? So the venue, you pay money to the venue, you pay money to the vendors, and Live Nation gets all of that money, right? Now, as far as the artists, right, we've actually seen videos of artists coming out and saying just how bad their deal with Live Nation is. I saw a TikTok video of a famous artist. His name is John Bellion. You guys might have already seen this video, so you probably know where I'm going with this. But what he had explained in that video, for those of you that didn't see this, is that, when you're an artist and you are signed under a record label and you get your first advance, right? It's essentially a loan that they're giving to you. So whenever you hear that an artist gets signed for $6 million or an artist gets signed for $10 million. That is not money that they get to keep. That's money that is in advance. Now, I know some of you, this might be basic stuff, basic information, but a lot of people don't know this. And that's why for many people, this lawsuit was actually very shocking. That's why I'm making a whole video about it, because it is a breaking topic over this weekend. So like I said, basically these artists are getting a big loan from Live Nation, and that loan has to be repaid. And in the contract, at least what this guy has explained, it's not necessarily going to be the case for every single artist, I'm assuming. This is just what was stated from this one person and their experience with the company, is that when they're paying back this advance that they received from the company, which was $1 million, they had to pay back $1 million. They had to pay back that money only with ticket sales. So if somebody were to come and see the concert, buy a ticket for that person, and they go in and they end up spending $100 on alcohol, the artist doesn't get to use any of that $100 to recoup their advance. They only get to repay the advance on ticket sales. And what's even crazier about this is Live Nation at any point can tell the entire general public, hey, this artist is going to have a big sale on their tickets, and instead of having $100 tickets, we're gonna give away tickets for $20 for the summer sale or whatever it is. And they have a right to do that. So even if the artist doesn't agree with selling the tickets for less money because it'll make them pay back the advance even slower, they have it in their contract. It's their right, at least for this person specifically that I saw their video on. It seemed like they were locked into doing exactly what they said they would do. Even if they wanted to discount the tickets, then they basically had to deal with it, right? So this is why I think a lot of artists were upset with the company, but you also saw the general public getting upset about how greedy the company was being, because ticket prices kept going up and everybody is concerned that this is all under the same company and everything like that. Now, like I said earlier, the Department of Justice finally came through and decided to do a lawsuit against the company, antitrust lawsuit, which basically means you're operating a monopoly, which is illegal in the United States, okay? I think one of the reasons they also did that is look at all the subsidiaries that Live Nation owns. They own merch companies, they own management companies, they own a lot of different businesses, right? So I think the idea is well, let's break up, the company so that we can have more competition, right? Which again, we can all agree, competition is a great thing. We want competition because it makes businesses try to create products that are cheaper and higher quality for consumers, right? Because that's how you're going to attract everybody. If you have a good quality product and it's a really good price, people are going to leave those other companies. They're going to come to you, right? That's how a lot of times you create profits, and that's how you create prosperity, especially in a capitalist society. Now, but here's the thing, right? This actually, we had another lawsuit earlier. I guess it wasn't a lawsuit. It was actually a blockage. But do you guys remember when JetBlue tried to buy Spirit Airlines? It actually wasn't that long ago. It wasn't even a year ago. But JetBlue had attempted to buy Spirit Airlines, and the DOJ said no. They did not allow them to merge. They said it would have been too big of a company, something like that. They thought that it was not, it was going to be a monopoly, whatever it was, right? Which was ironic because, again, when they were saying all this stuff, this can't be allowed. Because, it's anti-competitive. Well, the thing is that Spirit was in trouble, right? Spirit needed to be acquired, or else the company's going to fail. And if that company failed, then essentially, then there's definitely less competition, right? Because there's one less company that can compete. So, if the merger had happened, I don't think that, I think that JetBlue and the merger could have helped them out a lot, right? So that's why I said, again, the DOJ, the whole thing that they're trying to do is to have competition so we can have better prices and we can have people competing, and we don't have monopolies and things like that and price controls. But ironically, by trying to block that merger with JetBlue and Spirit, they kind of did exactly what they were trying to go against, which I thought was kind of ironic. And so I was thinking about it in this context with Live Nation. Hey, Live Nation's basically a company that owns a lot of other companies, and they're making a bunch of different, revenue streams within the music industry. Whether it's venues, whether it's artists, whether it's tickets, whether it's concessions, whether it's merch. There's all kinds of ways to monetize the music industry, and this company just kind of does it all, right? But I had to kind of figure and kind of ask myself, what about all these little companies that they own? Would they still be around had Live Nation not come through and bought them? Just something to think about, right? I mean, as messed up as some people's experiences have been, as I think, as hurrah as we want to be for the DOJ taking down big greedy companies, we have to think about it a little bit. I mean, these small companies that they buy up and acquire that do really incredible work, that's why they bought them, right? Like Live Nation inherently is not that talented of a company. Like internally, they're not that good. There's a lot of other small businesses that do much better. Like for example, like merch, right? So when you do merch fulfillment and merch printing and merch development and product development and R&D, all that kind of stuff, Live Nation itself is not very good at that. But you know what they do is they just buy companies that are good at it, right? But would those companies still be surviving? Would they have survived through COVID? Would they have survived when nobody was going to concerts and nobody wanted to go outside and nobody wanted to interact? Would they have survived had Live Nation not bought them up? That's the one thing we have to ask, because even though we're trying to break up the companies and have more competition, would those companies even exist had the company not bought them up? Something to think about. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, I think that some people are gonna ask me, what does this mean for Live Nation stock? I don't think this will mean much for Live Nation stock. To be honest with you guys, I think that this lawsuit will probably be thrown out. I don't really see it going anywhere. If it does, I'll have to make an update to this video. But as of right now, I just don't really think anything's gonna really come of this, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're gonna really get that far with it. So maybe you have a difference of opinion. So anyway, I think that the drop that we saw in Live Nation stock will recover. The stock should end a little bit higher by the end of the year. But if things do develop, obviously things can change. I'm just saying this as of today, and tomorrow's Memorial Day to just kind of timestamp this video. But overall, right, even if I just want to stay away from stocks like that, I think there's lots of great places to invest in the market right now. Not just, stocks that have come down from lawsuits, because I've done lots of trades like that. I've seen lots of companies get sued before, and then the stock will go way down. I'll buy it, and then the stock goes right back up. We recover, and then I take a lot of profits. So that's happened to me many times before. I've done that for companies like Google, right? Now, although I think something like Google would be a lot safer, because Google is a company that's obviously going to exist for a long time. And so if they get sued and the stock drops a lot, I almost always buy that up. All these bigger companies like Apple, Microsoft, Google, all those types of companies that get sued and the stock drops because of it, I typically buy that up. When we talk about something like a Live Nation, a little bit higher risk, but could potentially pay off. But like I said, for that amount of risk I would have to take to figure out if that would even pan out, I think there might be other investments out there in the market that are still gonna give me the same type of reward, but much smaller amounts of risk. That's where I think like a lot of people get confused, and that's why I think I've been able to find some really good trades this year. And again, if you're new to the stock market, investing and trading in general, and you wanna learn more about it, you can click the link down below in the description and join my online investing club. That's where you guys get my watch list, my live trading streams. It's an educational program where I take you guys through my investing strategies and I show you guys how I make money in the stock market. So anyways, if you guys want to take a look at that, the link is down below in the description. Again, let me know what you guys think about this whole Live Nation situation. I want to hear your thoughts. I'll see you in the next video.